through life, full circle, then came back to where he started from, and now, oh man, he's as happy as daisies. There he is with with Ashanti and their newborn. There's Nelly there with Ride With Me. Listen, it is Thursday, and it's the first Thursday of the Spice Drive in 2024. And you know, Thursdays in the 5 o'clock hour, it's always about Transformational Thursday, which is basically we bring you a guest whose life journey epitomizes the clarion call of what this segment is all about. It's all about aspiring to inspire. Okay? People whose life stories epitomize that word that we call grit. And I say this, you know what? And you know what? I hate to preach to the choir, but you know what? And as they say, when it comes to grit, it's all about the ups and downs, the challenges of this thing that we call life, and it's coming out the other side. And still, as I say, dusting off your shoulders and still getting up, you know, tying up your bootstraps, picking up that walking stick, that baton, and continuing with that same said journey. Today in studio, and you know, the irony is you know, she's a friend of mine, right? Full disclosure, and a partner, my husband. Her person, you know, is one of my besties. And so we were hanging out on at the dawn of this year. I said, actually, you know what? Your story would be a good one on TT. So Jeff did the donkey work, and here she is. Her journey, by the way, has been shaped by a perspective on boarding schools, on single parenthood, on intergender relationships, and family dynamics. This is a lady who was basically raised by, she came from a single mother who left her and her siblings under her grandparents. She lost her granddad. She went to boarding school at the age of 11. Lost her granddad, who for all intents and purposes was like Azak at the age of 15. Her grandmother, who for all intents and purposes is like her mom at the age of 18. Went to various, I remember, boarding schools at the age of 11. Eldoret, Kakamega, Costa Rica, aka Mombasa. And finally, moving to Nairobi in search of opportunities at the age of 22. She says that through the years, she has learnt, she has had a mental transformation. She has broken away from social stereotypes. She's gotten away from victimhood. And she's taking accountability for actions, and she's worked on breaking harmful patterns. I love this. And as you try and put best foot forward in 2025, this is a story that you want to hear. I call her something else. You may call her Mary. Wairimu is in the studio. Welcome to Transformational Thursday. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Coach. Thank you very much for having me.
It's been real. It's been real. 2025. We last met a week ago. Yeah. Resolutions?
Oh no, I don't do resolutions.
No.
No, I don't.
Why?
Because it's just another month. You have to keep working on yourself throughout the year.
I like that. Yes. I like that. But can I ask you something? Is your new year your birthday or the 31st day of December?
My birthday mostly.
Yeah. I basically I do that as well. By the way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Mary, let's start at the beginning. Who's Mary Wairimu?
Oh, Mary Wairimu is a mother, a wife, and a marketing coordinator.
Right.
Yes.
So let's go back in time. Yeah. Genesis, to the genesis of Mary.
Yes.
So is Mary because you know you tell like I said here in the preamble, yeah, single mom, okay, but are you the only sibling? Are you an only child?
No, I'm the last one of 3. I have a brother, a sister, and I'm the last one in the family.
Okay.
Yes.
And where are the bro and the sister?
Oh, my brother is in Eldoret, still in Eldoret. My sister is here in Nairobi.
So obviously now you've been married off, ne? But where's Shags?
My shags is in Moranga, though, like many other Kenyans, I don't visit Moranga that much, but we go there to bury.
Yeah.
So my shags is in Moranga.
That
I've
is
been
a
there couple
cemetery.
of times. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, but I see there's a very close affiliation with LD. Why LD? What's in LD?
Oh wow. My grandfather moved to Nakuru
Yes.
way before my mother was born.
Right.
And my mother was born in Eldoret.
Buzz.
He was a civil servant,
Yep.
so I guess he was moved to Eldoret. So that's where I was born.
Okay.
Yes, that's where he settled down.
Okay.
And that's where my whole family is. That's my home.
Okay. So I don't get it. So and where's Muse buried?
My grandfather was buried in Moranga.
Aha.
We usually take the bodies back home.
Okay.
Yes.
Because LD is in town, it's not. When I picture LD, I'm thinking of a farm.
No. I don't know whether it's about the culture
Yes.
that we had to bring the body back, or I
Yes.
don't know whether it's about the council.
Right.
But we have land there, though we
Yes.
don't bury there.
Yes.
If anybody in our family died today,
Right.
even after all these years,
Right.
their bodies are taken back to Moranga.
Okay.
So as you said earlier, it's a cemetery.
Bus, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then so your eldest bro is in LD.
He's still in Eldoret.
And your sis?
And my sister is here in Nairobi.
Okay.
She joined me
Okay.
to work.
And then you guys basically are you're in advertising.
Yes, I am in not advertising. I have to
Branding.
Branding, actually. And because when I say I'm a marketing coordinator for branding, this is not what I've studied. I'm one of those who was forced to do a course that they didn't want. So I didn't manage to, those days, Edward, the way it was, your parent imposes whatever they want on you.
Indeed.
So I did secretarial back then. Not something that I liked, not something that I enjoyed. So along the way, I had to switch.
Okay.
So right now, I found my passion in connecting the clients
Yes.
to businesses.
Right.
Consumers to businesses.
Yes.
So right now I'm focused on branding, making the client feel appreciated, because I deal with gifting
All right.
primarily.
Yes.
And of course, branding the companies in terms of apparel.
Okay. So when you talk about gifting and corporate, so November, December, clearly they're boom months, ne?
Actually, throughout the year.
Good one.
People are gifting throughout. People are appreciating their clients or
Yes.
their consumers throughout the year.
And especially in a time like now, where you've got to maintain that relationships with
Yes.
your clients. So business is good.
Business is good throughout the year, because clients or consumers want to be appreciated throughout.
Indeed.
They don't want to be appreciated once a year.
Indeed.
So, and I'm happy that very many companies or businesses are embracing this culture of appreciating the clients throughout.
Right.
So, yes, I wouldn't say that. I know many people assume that the end of the year is the best time of the year for us, but no. Throughout the year, we have people who want to connect with their clients,
Yes.
who want to remind the clients that they are the brand that they want the clients to see.
Yes.
And of course, they still want to appreciate they want to appreciate them being part of their community. Yes.
We said that you have had mental transformation, right?
Yes.
So let's take a journey from the beginning to now. Okay. So you are born in LD.
Yes, I was.
The last sibling of 3. And mom is single mother. Where's Muse?
Oh, I've never known my dad.
Wow.
So from the time I remember me, Mariam, it's always been my grandmother. When I say remember me, it means the time that I came to know of me.
Yes,
I've
yes.
always just known my grandmother to be my guardian.
Right.
So I'm guessing, of course, I was given up when I was very young.
Right.
Probably, I don't know. I've never really bothered to find out.
Why would you say given up? I mean, were you adopted?
I use the word given up because I believe it's a mother and father's responsibility to raise their child.
Indeed.
So the moment you're handed over to someone else, I use the word given up.
Oh, yes, of course. This is by mom.
Yes.
All right. Okay, yes. And she's still alive?
Oh, yes, she is.
Are we close?
We are working on it.
Wow.
It's a journey.
Yes, indeed.
Yes.
When did the reconnection start?
Oh, the real reconnection started after my grandmother died. Maybe way after my grandmother died, because, I had to go to college.
Yes.
Because she passed on right after I
Indeed.
did
You were
my
18.
Form 4.
Yes. Yeah.
So I had to transition to college, and of course somebody had to take up the responsibility, the financial responsibility mostly.
Bus.
So that's when we began reconnecting.
Was that hard?
Oh, it was tough.
Oh.
Yeah, it was very tough.
How that started by force, though?
It started by force. Let me tell you, Edward, when you're growing up with your grandparents, because I know many people are going through
that.
this.
That is true. Yes.
And
yes.
On surface level, it looks very normal, but it's not normal.
Indeed.
It's not normal.
Yes.
So when you're growing up with this feeling of whether you like it or not, and whether you're given the best life or not, because my grandmother gave me a very good life.
Yes.
I would never take that away from her.
Yes.
But there's still feelings of rejection when you know that this is really not your mother, and your mother is out there somewhere, and you get to see her once in a while.
Right.
And it makes it even worse when you're in school and you see people with their mothers, their fathers.
Right.
You have to deal with this rejection. So for you to heal from this rejection is actually it's such a very hard task. So at 18, you already know who you are. You're already set in your ways. You've already accepted that this person actually rejected you, because that, to me, that's what that really was.
Right.
You've already accepted that they rejected you, and then now you're supposed to act like really nothing happened.
Indeed, yeah.
And the worst part of this is that I've spoken to very many people who've gone through the same thing. The worst part is that parents never bother to explain.
They don't feel the need.
They don't feel the need.
Yes. I can't. Why am I apologizing to a child?
Exactly. They normalize it.
Yes,
but for the child, whether they show you or not, it's not normal.
Right.
Yes.
And were you guys the three musketeers? You and your brother and your sister? Were we? You see, you're in boarding school from 11.
Yes.
So we only have holidays.
Only holidays.
And so would we all go back to LD? Over the holidays, and were we?
Tight?
Are you guys tight?
No, for me, I wasn't tight with them at all, because they were in the same school. My brother and my sister were in the same school.
Oh, those two are in a separate school?
Yes, they were in a separate
day school. Ah, okay.
My going to boarding is a totally different different story. But yes, so I was kind of taken away from them very early. I didn't get an opportunity to bond with them much, because remember, I'm coming home only 3 times in a year.
Yes,
3 times.
Course.
That's only 3 months.
Yes.
You're spending out of 12 months, you're spending only 3 months at home. So how much can you connect?
Okay, yeah, because, Mary, you spent 7 years. You started going to boarding school at 11.
11.
Was that under duress?
It was under duress.
What happened?
Not a very funny story, but what happened was, my grandfather and grandmother had this book chest, where they had these encyclopedias and Bible stories and whatnot. And one book disappeared. I don't know how, I don't know where. And for whatever reason, my brother decided, my brother and my uncle then decided to put that burden on me. For whatever reason, they just said, "Oh, I'm the one who did it."
I like that burden. You don't use the word blame.
Yes, it's a burden. It's not even blame anymore.
It's not funny, not funny. Okay.
And quite what happened is, I was beaten so much on that day. I remember like it was yesterday. I was punished for such, it seemed like a whole day, but well, of course, it was not a whole day. And I had to finally say that I'm the one who took the book. Okay? And when I said that I took the book, the next thing was, who did you give it to? I had to mention a random name. I remember, I was so young, but I remember I was only 10 years then. So when I said the person who I gave the book to, which of course was not true, I was told that the first thing when you open school, I should produce that book.
Come on.
Go back to the person, produce the book.
Yes.
That night was my first night of faith in God. And my grandfather and my grandmother were very spiritual.
Yes.
But I remember going to my bedroom and I knelt and I prayed. I told God, please take this away from me. That Jesus was praying.
Yes.
Like, take this away from me. I literally cried to God.
Yes.
And I think they say God has a sense of humor.
Right.
What happens next? That story just portrayed like that.
Oh, really? Okay.
And then come... that was in December. Come January, I'm in a vehicle going to Kakamega to boarding school.
Come on.
At this point, you don't know whether God intervened so that you don't have to be punished again. I don't know. That's how I was sent to boarding.
Mary, let me ask you, because, you say you remembered like it was yesterday, ne?
I remember like it was yesterday.
Now, when you do, because clearly that changed the direction of your life.
Completely.
You see, and like you say that, completely. When you sit down with your bro, I'm assuming you've had this conversation. How old was he then himself?
Oh, my brother is 8 years older than me.
Bas, that means that guy was a man,
yes.
By the way. Now, as you know, because now you are more or less complete. When you have that conversation with him, what do you talk about? Did you have that conversation with him ever?
Never.
Why? You don't want to open up? Is it a scar?
No. I had feelings of resentment.
That one.
But I actually had this conversation with my grandmother.
Wow.
Yes, she was sick for a very long time.
Yes.
And I actually, because it really, as you said, it changed the course of my life.
Yes.
And it hurt me for so long.
Yes.
And I went and told her, you know what, I never stole that book. And her response to me was, why didn't you tell me?
Yes.
But I told her, I told you. I kept saying it over and over again. I was literally crying, but nobody was believing me.
Yes.
So I saw that she also felt some type of way.
Sharp.
Yeah, that I took that punishment, and probably that's the reason why I was sent to boarding.
Okay, let's talk about that transition, Mary. So it's the holidays, okay? We're in LD. Then it's December. Now it's Jan, and we're packed off, and we're off to the races in Kakamega.
Yes.
You're an 11-year-old girl, and here we are, boarding school, first experience ever. Everyone is now back in LD.
Yes.
Okay, we won't go back to your to puberty, ne? But you go from LD, then you also wind up at school in Mombasa.
Oh, that was way back. That was
That's
way
after.
That was now in college.
In college.
Yes.
So where are you from in Kakamega? Then we go to where?
I go back to Eldoret now, high school.
Bas. Now, is that also boarding school?
That's also a boarding school.
Why then, but we're back home? Is it that you got so used to boarding? Or we just didn't want that domestic... I don't want to go and stay in that house.
No. I'm the only one who spent time in boarding in primary school.
Right.
But all of us went through boarding in high school.
Indeed.
So it wasn't odd to be in boarding, but it was odd to be in boarding that early.
Would you take your kids to boarding now? Are they in boarding?
Boarding. let me tell you what the problem is when it comes to boarding. And I'm going to talk about it in relation to my story and to many other stories that I've had around.
Indeed.
The problem with boarding is that parents are using boarding as a correctional facility.
Come on.
Learning institution.
Hold on. Indeed. So you probably can't hear, but it was a round of applause. Go ahead.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
That, for me, is the biggest problem. Because if you're not able to raise your child well, you cannot hand them over to the educational institution to correct them. So you can imagine how many children are there because their parents don't want them because they are indisciplined.
Come on, yes.
Even though in my case I wasn't.
Yes.
But you can imagine how many more children are in boarding because parents are treating it as a correctional institution. It's not.
Yes.
So that's a problem that I have with boarding.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
A very big problem that I have with boarding right now.
Right. So your formative years are in boarding school.
Yes.
It's only coming back for holidays that you're basically now you're interconnecting with your folks, quote unquote, but who are actually your grandparents. So your granddad dies when you're 15.
Yes.
Right. And then basically for the next 3 years, it is grandma who's taking care of you.
Yes.
Now, when she dies, and then we have now transitioned from high school, we want to go into the tertiary world. This is now when mom comes back to your life. Okay? And this is now where we go to Mombasa.
Yes.
We're going to play a song. We asked you for 4 or 5 songs, which clearly we have discussed, and we have now whittled it down to 3 because of time. We're going to play 3 songs that have meaning to you. And correct me, Mary, if there's Queen, I Want to Break Free. And there's Inner City, Good Life. There's Tracy Chapman, Fast Car, and John Sakata, Just Another Day. And by the way, I'm saying this with a smile in my voice because Mary just found out the other day that Queen, I Want to Break Free was a lot of people just listen to songs, and I've said this before, that this was Queen, which is Freddie Mercury, one of the gayest of the gay people you'll ever meet in your life. This one, Mary just found out the other day, she was singing this song to the high heavens, that Freddie was trying to say that, you know what, he wants to break free of the shackles that restrains him from self-expression. Okay. So we're going to play that song. Where does that song take you? And forget the meaning of the words, because now it's just, it makes you happy. But where does happiness take you?
Not happiness, but freedom.
I like that.
A person who values freedom.
Okay.
Yes. So before even knowing the meaning of that song,
yes,
it was just about breaking free from the societal norms.
Right.
From anything that people expect of you.
Yes.
Just to be yourself.
Yes.
That's what that song means to me.
I love it. That's a good one. So, Mary Wairimu, boarding school, grandma dies at the age of 18, we're in Eldoret, and then life takes a transition. It's off down to the coastal strip. The mother who left her with her parents is now back in the picture. As we have said, a lot of single mothers will resonate with this conversation. Back with Mary Wairimu next. Now with I Want to Break Free on this Transformational Thursday, the first one of the year 2025. And as we say, when we talk about aspiring to inspire, how about a guest today who's, speaking of Freddie right there, Queen with I Want to Break Free, she has, through the years, she's had a mental transformation, and she's broken away from social stereotypes. She's gotten away from victimhood, and she's taking accountability for her actions. And she's worked on breaking harmful patterns. Talk about setting agendas. You yourself, for the year of our Lord 2025. We have a lady in studio whose journey has shaped her perspective on boarding schools. We've spoken about that. On single parenthood, her mother did that. Intergender relationships and family dynamics. Let's talk about that. In studio, my pal, my lady, Mary Wairimu. Mary, I like the way you broke it down in terms of what you said about boarding schools and single parenthood. So let's go back to that single parenthood. Mom basically, and a lot of single mothers do this. They leave the kids with their parents. So the kids are raised by grandparents. And I remember, I'm always thinking, that's very lazy. Mom has to come back into your life. Your mom has to come back into your life at the age of 18 because your grandma has passed on.
Yes.
Your granddad had passed on when you were 15. Now, you've finished high school boarding in LD. But obviously now we've got to go for further education. So it is a forced conversation. How does that go? Are you angry and you're like, hey, you who has not been here for the past 18 years, I'm now a grown up, but alas, I need color. Let's sort this out here and now so that I don't disturb you again ever in my life.
Not anger. Resentment.
That's honest.
And I have to point this out. Most of the time when you go through such experiences, you might not be able to take anger on this person who has actually put you in this position. What usually happens is that this anger pours out to the wrong people. That's the most interesting thing. So you'll find yourself being snapping at people, being moody at people, and you will never really be able to figure out what your issue is. But the truth is that you're not able to direct the anger to
the right person.
And mostly it's because you've been conditioned to respect people regardless, especially older people. A person called your mother or your father, regardless of what they did to you as a child, you've been conditioned that you must give them respect. Okay, so no, not anger, but resentment. And of course, resentment is an inward feeling.
That's so true.
Yes.
You know, Mary, knowing you now, okay?
Yes.
And because clearly I am now, because I'm a friend of yours, I'm finding out this backstory now.
Yes.
But you're a mother and you're a well-rounded individual. From that experience, and you say resentment, what about your kids? Because I'm assuming your mom's still alive.
Yes, she is.
So you're still trying to rebuild that relationship.
Yes.
Is there a healthy relationship between grandkids and grandma?
Unfortunately not. As long as there's no connection between me and her, there can be no connection between...
Buzz.
Yes, because children also feel energy.
That is so true.
Yes. So they're able to... You'll see them kind of just pulling back.
Yes.
Because they see that you have no connection with this person.
Sharp.
So I would have to work on that before I put them in that situation.
Right.
But again, it's so natural that
which is true.
The energies just don't match.
Yes. And, a big thing that is happening, and I'm happy that in this day and age, I've got friends, therapy. And when I say friends, because my partner has gone through and is going through therapy, okay? But now it is the male element in society, the African man, is now embracing therapy. And when I talk about therapy, some people find conversation.
Yes.
Like right now, what we're doing between the two of us.
Yes.
Therapeutic. But then, there are those who actually seek professional help, right? Now, you, in terms of this relationship between you and Mother, what is your therapeutic method between the two of you?
My therapeutic method is...
Do we sit and break bread? Do we go to the market? Do we play tennis?
Breaking bread is it.
Yeah.
Because nothing can be fixed. First, we need to first take that off the table. You cannot fix me right now. I mean, I was 18, so nothing can be fixed. You can't go back to work on your relationship from when I was a child because I missed so much. Okay, so I don't know whether to call it forgiveness, forgiving. You want to forgive, but forgiving is a process because forgiving means that I must forgive myself first for these negative emotions that I have. Why do I have negative emotions? I'm an adult. I don't need parenting right now. So I need to first address why. Why is it that I'm having a problem relating with this person like any other person? Because right now she's just any other person. I don't rely on her for anything. I already have my own family. So I need to work on why. It's still a journey. I know I seem to be very well-rounded.
Yes.
But I need to work on the bits and pieces of me that I feel like I missed. I'll give you an instance that when I talk about accountability on my part, because accountability is a very big part of forgiving and healing. And just let me put it out there, I don't do the professional therapy. I believe that all the answers are within you.
I like that.
Yes, so part of my anger as an adult, because as a child, really, I have to work on so much. But as an adult, part of my anger was that she forced me to take the wrong course. I want to put it as the wrong course.
Yes.
But my accountability when it comes to that is that in my 20s...
sorry, we're talking about this secretarial.
Yes, secretarial.
Okay, yes.
She was a secretary.
Yes.
So many parents have this habit of recreating themselves in their children.
Yes.
So I wanted to do law.
Yes.
That was what I wanted. But of course, having come back in my life, we don't have a relationship. So you can't even argue. You have to go with whatever she says at this point.
She's the one who's paying.
She's a stranger. She's paying.
Yes.
So I did take secretarial. And for a very long time, this became new bitterness, new resentment because you're forcing me to do this for 3 years. It's not what I want to do. And eventually, after being angry for so long, maybe about 6 years, I had to take accountability because at some point in my 20s, when I came to Nairobi, I started doing business. I had the money to actually pay my own fees. I literally had so much money at that time. But I didn't do it. I didn't pay for my own fees to take whatever I wanted. So I had to take that accountability.
And yet every day you'd go there and you'd, and you'd nanny and moan.
Yes.
Literally, yes.
I'm literally saying I wanted to be this, and then I'm doing business, I'm making money. I can still be what I wanted to be.
That's
so
true, yeah.
I had to first take accountability for this, and it took me years to take accountability for the fact that, you know what, you had a chance to fix whatever it is that was messed, and you did not do it. So now you need to put the blame on you. It's a very hard shift for very many people that even when you're angry at people or when you're resentful towards people, there are things within yourself that you must kind of look into.
Yes.
And then answers are within you.
I like that.
You can fix some of these issues without. I know some people need professionals for whatever reason. I've never been through that, so I don't know what that feels like.
Yes.
But most of the answers are within you.
Now, a lot of people, this journey, they do it alone because, you know what, single child, single parent, all right? But you have got the benefit of 3. 2 siblings, that is.
Yes.
And then also, Mary, the older we get, obviously, that also means the older our parents get.
True.
Then you know what, life goes full circle because then eventually we start to take care of them.
True.
And then we also start to have our own children. And as a child, when I talk about child now, I'm talking about infants and teenagers. It's very hard for a parent to apologize to a child.
Very true.
Or next to impossible.
Though they need to make a habit.
Thank you. To apologize and or explain.
Yes.
To a child. But the older we get, then you start seeing that our parents, they now find it easier to say words like that one we talk about, sorry.
Yes.
And or explain. Are you ready for that? Would you embrace it if, let's assume she's listening now, and over the course of the weekend, when the 2 of us are now breaking bread, it's I'm sorry.
I don't think it's necessary.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary. But I think it's very necessary for her to be truthful with herself or to herself. Because I can see the struggle within her, because at her age she needs me more than I need her. You know, that's what usually happens. The tables turn. That the time that I needed you, you're not there.
Sharp. That's what I'm saying. Yes.
You need me.
Yes.
So she needs to be honest with herself, make peace with herself, which I don't think she has. And a part of making peace with yourself is having that conversation.
Right.
So it's not something that I can initiate. It's something that she needs to actually initiate.
I love it. Let's pivot. Now, we're in Mombasa. You're studying 3 years secretarial, and man, you really don't want to carry that bag. Okay. But you do what you got to do, because you know what? You're one of goals, and you'll always cross that finish line.
Yes.
Was that something that was ingrained in you by your grandfolks? Some of you said, I'm not going to drop the baton like dear mama did.
Oh, my grandparents had very, they are disciplined, their integrity, they were very hardworking. They instilled very good values in us.
Sharp.
Very, very good values. And one of the values was actually respect. We are very respectful people. So
that's true, yeah.
Those 3 years, I was like, you know what? I don't think that there's any education that can be wasted, any information, let me put it that way, that can be wasted. So I said, you know what, since she wants me to do this and I have no plan. I really had no plan. And I didn't know where to go to, because straight after that, thank God, my sister was older than me, 4 years older than me. So she had already, when my grandmother passed on, we stayed in a house for maybe another 1 year, which was very strenuous because now my uncles moved in. My uncle moved into that house. So my sister moved out and I was able to go live with her. Remember, I've never lived with my mother my whole life since I was born. So I had to go live with my sister. So I had no plan B. Going to study was my only plan. After I was done with my studies, of course, I knew that's not what I want to do. I tried.
Sorry. Yeah. Why Mombasa?
Again, that's what
dear mama said.
Yes.
Okay. So
I don't know how. But
they were not if buts or what. Uko ndio nenda.
Penye unaambiwa unaenda, that is where you go. So, and you know, the children of those days, there was no arguing.
Yeah.
So we never used to ask why.
That's true. Yes.
Or give options. Yes. So I went to Mombasa. I finished my education there. Of course, I didn't have any issues because the way I had been raised made it very easy for me to just navigate those 3 years. And when I went back home, I always used to go to my sister. And then after my studies, then I'm like, now that's the point where you go to what next? You know, what next? This is not really what I want to do.
But meanwhile, you're doing business.
No. What business at that time? No, I'm still a student.
Okay.
So when I finished, I got a job. I worked for breweries for 6 months.
Right.
And then after that, it was some sort of a, the way you go sit in for someone when they go on a leave. Yes. So after that, I went to work in a phone shop and I was like, I can't do this. Eldoret was getting unbearable for me. The memories were just terrible. And I wasn't seeing myself heading anywhere at all.
In LD?
In LD.
Okay.
I had an aunt in Nairobi.
Yes.
So I decided to just pack my bags and come try out life in Nairobi.
Right.
It was just that simple.
And Coastal was not your cup of tea?
Coastal was not my cup of tea at all. I enjoyed the 3 years of studying.
Yes.
But not for me.
Okay.
I don't like heat, by the way. I don't like coastal areas. So the heat was not working for me at all. That's one of the things that was not taking me back to Mombasa.
I find it fascinating because, like me, I cannot stand dust. So, and the people like, listen, but you're Africans. Okay. Dust, heat, that is the basic foundation of your life on this continent.
Take me to the coldest place. I love it. I love the cold. Take me to heat. I will not even stay there for 1 week.
Yes.
I will whine until you take me back to the cold weather. So yes, Mombasa was not really working for me. I was getting the rashes. No, not my thing. So I preferred to go back to Eldoret at that time.
You should live stream this, by the way, spicefm.co.ke. We're live there. Yeah, because you should see Mary's expression when she's talking about. But do you go there on holiday?
Where, Eldoret?
Wow.
Mombasa.
Yes, Coastal.
Oh yes, Mombasa. I do, but not more than 4 days. I've never gone on holiday for more than 4 days. But the third day, I want to come back to Nairobi. Yes.
Okay. So all right. So now you say, look, phone shop, I'm done.
Oh no, I went to work for a phone shop, and then I was done. I just packed my bags. I said, let me go to Nairobi.
Kaende.
Let me go try life in Nairobi. And then Nairobi was another shock because I came to live with my
Shamba ya mawe.
Shamba la mawe. I came to live with my aunt who was very close to me. I was actually our family was very close. We were very close to each other.
Sorry. So this aunt clearly is Mom Sis.
Yes.
Wow.
Mom Sis. So,
and whoa. And you don't ask her these questions. What's wrong with because now you're grown up.
Yes.
And you're close.
Yes.
So it's like that aunt who's now like a big sis.
Yes.
Hakuna swali za ile ya kiwase ambayo unamuuliza?
I'll take you there.
Okay.
We are going there. We are going there because yes, I did come and she was my favorite. Yes. And Nairobi kuna maneno. Nairobi people don't accommodate you.
It's true.
They don't accommodate idlers. So the longest she could accommodate me was less than a week.
Wow.
And she told me, you know what? Gotta go. You got to sort yourself out.
Yes.
And imagine that's how I moved out of the house, not knowing where I was going to.
Less than 7 days.
Less than 7 days.
You are
no job
new
yet.
in this city.
New in the city. I had never lived in Nairobi. Actually, I had only visited Nairobi when we were bringing my grandmother for chemotherapy. She had cancer.
Yes.
So I had never, ever known the city.
Wow.
It was so scary. But there was a lady, a neighbor of hers. I just left with my bags and I was very confused. I went, and women were very funny. My first thought was to go to the salon to fix my braids for whatever reason. But that was God. Ni God. That was ni God. Because I just asked the ladies, where can I get accommodation?
Yes.
And they told me there's a lady who's looking for someone to live in one of her bedrooms. Imagine. And that's how I got someone to accommodate me.
From the salon?
A lady now was living in the neighborhood.
Yes, but this information you got at the salon.
From the salon.
Good one.
So I got a place to live within maybe 2 hours. I already had a home.
Yes, wow, good one.
Very, very nice lady, actually. And that's how I started now hustling. The good thing, I had computer knowledge.
Yes.
So I got to work in a cyber for a while. And that's how I got the idea of what to do next.
Right.
And I got into cyber business myself after a while. I worked for that gentleman maybe for 2 years. I put some money aside.
Yes.
And I started my small cyber after that.
And and as all of this is going on, is Auntie keeping tabs on you?
No, never.
Okay, so that closeness was not very close.
Clearly. Clearly not. Do you know how shocked I was?
Yes.
I knew she was like my second mother,
Right.
Yes. But I came to realize people in Nairobi don't like idlers. They don't like to accommodate people. I don't know.
No. It is actually many a time have I also not have I got people from so-called upcountry. Yeah. Finish Campo, I'm coming to Tao. Yeah. And then they come. Yeah, even me, I find it very irritating when I, like, for example, now I'm here.
Yes.
Then I go back and I just find you sunbathing.
Just chilling.
I'm like, what are you doing? What have you done today?
You're a city boy.
You know, and you're like, no, it's the hustle is real.
True.
Okay. So basically then you start your cyber business, and as they say, that's when you're now off to the races.
Oh, yeah.
You have picked up the baton, and it then starts off to where it's culminated now with you and your sis and the branding business.
Yes.
I want to talk about intergender relationships. But before that, tell us about the branding business.
Oh, the branding business. Well, we've been doing this for now, it's 8 years. We deal with corporate gifts and, of course, uniforms. That's what we're big on, and signage, advertising. So my sister found me here. Of course, she also got employment. And that's how she got interested in branding. So she's the one who made me get some interest in branding, because I was in cyber business I was in cyber business for 11 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So she's the one who made me transition into what I'm doing right now.
She followed you to Nairobi?
Yes, she did.
She's listening?
I hope so.
How's that relationship between the two of you, though? Obviously, it's good, but I'm talking about in terms of not biashara, in terms of personalities.
Oh, we are very tight.
You're tight, ne?
We are.
And the bro?
Oh, my bro, we are not tight. I've
With
never
both of you or just you?
Mostly me.
Is it because of the encyclopedia?
Maybe partly, but not quite. I've just not had a chance to live with him and bond with him.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going to go into the news.
Okay.
In a minute. Then we're going to play, we got 3 more songs. We're going to play Tracy Chapman, Fast Car. When that song, where does that take you?
If you look at my songs, they're all about freedom, by the way.
Which is true. Which is true.
Even Fast Cars is just all about that.
It's just about the freedom.
It's just about being free. I really value freedom more than anything.
And now, what do you do in your free time?
Oh, in my free time, I do a lot of spacing.
Sorry, Mary, what is spacing?
Spacing is, we are on Twitter,
yes.
X.
Yes.
So
yes, of course, yes.
That's where our therapy is.
Yes.
When you're not having such conversations.
Yes.
And I'm enjoying this conversation because even on Twitter, even though X now, though you're anonymous, you give yourself freedom to just speak the truth, to kufungua roho.
Which is true.
Which, that's what we do. I love to listen to people's stories.
Yes.
Yes. So that's what I do most of my free time.
I love that. All right, so let's take a news break, and then when we're back, do you have any swallies for Mary Wairimu, man? 0719012600 Spice FM KE News next. Group. But there she is with a brilliant song. It's Fast Car. And do you know what? We're fast running out of time, but man, what a way to start Transformational Thursdays in 2025. Oh man, in studio, she is, and speaking of fascinating, she's such a fascinating human being. It's just that, you know what, we don't have time, but you know, we're trying to make a plan where we'll spend more time with her. Details. Yeah, we'll put that on the back burner. Yo, subiritu, utaona. But it's a lady whose journey has been shaped by her perspective on boarding schools, single parenthood, intergender relationships, and family dynamics. We've spoken about the family dynamics. We've spoken about boarding schools. Single parenthood, and we're just having a conversation just now when the news was going on, has also led into that dynamic of intergender relationships. And she says that, you know, we should not normalize certain things. And even when you speak about it as society, I've mentioned this here before, that the fourth, we're talking about Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. I think it was on his last Madaraka Jamhuri days, and I think he declared single parenthood either a national crisis or disaster. Yes. I don't want to say disaster. I'd use the word crisis. And my guest today said something very profound. You'll find that a lot of people who are raised in single parent homes become single parents themselves.
True.
And hence this dynamic, because when I saw that, you know, we are going to talk about intergender relationships, I'm like, from what perspective? And her perspective is so profound. Hence, that's why I say she's a fascinating human being. Mary Wairimu. What is it that, because you were saying it, that, you know what, we should not normalize and we should not give excuses. Say that again.
If you want to break a pattern, you should not normalize or give excuses to, I don't want to say it as bad behavior. But let me give an example of my mother.
Right.
Or of many, many people who've been brought up by single parents.
Yes.
In this case, mostly single mothers.
Yes.
We like to give excuses for them. My dad didn't want to be there. You know, my mom worked so hard to give me everything. My mother is just like my father. And that's the worst thing. Your mother can never be your father. Your mother can never replace your father.
I hear that a lot. Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we like to say that, you know, my mother is my father. My mother has been my father. He has taken over my father's place and he has done so much for me. So the moment you normalize such a situation, the moment you make excuses and normalize it, then you become that. You have accepted it. You have made it acceptable in your mind. So for you are going to repeat that pattern.
Yes.
And it's not a good pattern, whether we like it or not.
So as a young, intelligent, beautiful lady, and I like what you said, you refused and you fought so hard not to fall into that repeat, rinse, wash.
Yes. I fought so hard because you see,
was it because of the temptation or because of the way you are built? Because you don't decide how you are vile tutakolezea.
True.
Was it a psychological thing, Mary?
It was psychological.
Yeah, well.
Based on my experiences of abandonment. Abandonment is a very big thing. And you don't know what abandonment and rejection does to you. And I know there are many children out there who either have been brought up by their grandmothers or have been brought up without their fathers. They know what rejection does. That is the first rejection of your life, being rejected by your parent.
Wow.
And it's the most painful rejection.
Wow.
It's something that you cannot, it's so hard to heal from. So having gone through that consciously, because I refused to replace my mother with my grandmother, although she did an amazing job. But psychologically, I know that I resisted that temptation of replacing my mother with my grandmother. So I had to accept that I had actually been abandoned. And that abandonment looks like rejection to many children. I didn't want to repeat that. I did not want my child to go through that. It doesn't matter how hard my grandfather and grandmother worked to keep us comfortable, because we grew up in a very comfortable setup. They did very well, and they were financially, they were doing very well.
Right.
But psychologically, I had to separate the two, separate my mother and my grandmother, for me to not want to repeat that for myself. Well, when I started dating, of course, there's the temptation of boys wanting to quote unquote wife you, which is not really wifing, or make you pregnant or whatever. That is something that through and through I said no to. I said there is no way. I have to do things the proper way.
Yes.
And the proper way means that bringing up a complete family.
Thank you.
If you want me to have children with you,
Yes.
you have to be my husband,
There we go.
period.
Pass.
There's no shortcut on
Pass.
that. So it was a very conscious decision that
Right.
I made.
Yes.
The whole of my 20s, it was
Yes.
a very conscious decision.
Yes. Yes.
And again, I repeat, it's because I refused to make excuses.
Right.
And I refused to accept that situation as a normal situation. If you
Right.
normalize things, you become part of that pattern.
Yes.
So, yes.
And Mary, now we've gone full circle.
Yeah.
And like I said, you're a friend of mine. Your husband is a friend of mine, and you've got the dictionary definition of a nucleus family. Has that your life's experience made you a better version of you? And that you talk about consciously.
Yes. Consciously.
Every day you wake up in the morning, and before you put that, the pad of your feet hits the floor, you're like, you know what? This is me now. It's not going to be us then.
As then. Kwash, let me first put this out also, that a person who's grown up in such a setup like mine first develops trust issues. So dating, I know that it's been put out as a stereotype. You cannot trust because you've been abandoned before. So where have you learned how to trust someone, to depend on someone? All you know is, remember, first me being taken out of my home when I was very young. To me, that I interpreted it as rejection, because everyone is home, I'm not at home. And then I spent all this time away from home. So I'm dealing with rejection. You don't know how to even rely on someone fully, So going into dating, you start to project on people. Even in friendships, normal friendships, you become a very difficult person to deal with, because where did you learn how to depend on people? Where did you learn how to form meaningful relationships with people? When it comes to a man, where did you learn to hear a man speak? You don't have a father.
There we go.
So it becomes very hard to form these kind of relationships, both in friendships and even with men. Where did you learn how to take instructions from men? Or to even listen to respect a man, All those things, you carry them into adulthood. And that's why it becomes very difficult for you to maintain a relationship. Someone might see you as a very nice person, but you're not a person who's easy to live with, because people want people that they can trust, people who can depend on them.
Right.
So those are the challenges I had to navigate, and I had to really be intentional in terms of breaking that, breaking my patterns through my early dating life, because my early dating life was very difficult, breaking that and going into now learning how to, and I don't want to sound like, it's going to sound like I'm one of these people who I'm a very traditional person, so that is normal.
Yes.
So to live with a man, you have to be able to respect them, you have to be able to take instruction from them. Yes. You have to be able to trust them, very important. Those are things that I had to be very intentional.
So where did that mental fortitude come from? Ama, is just, what if, I think what I'm trying to ask is this.
Yes.
Because obviously there's sort of a lot of people who are listening to what you're saying right now.
Yes.
And it resonates because that's the state of our world.
True.
But where did that mental, because your grandparents went, you were a teenager.
Yes, yes.
Then you're in this urban jungle, Samba Lamawe, that is Nairobi.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, your 20s, even you, it's a journey of discovery.
True.
But you're still mentally very astute and aware. Where's that coming from? Is that an inner thing, or is that something that we can learn?
I think you can.
Or is that something that you can share?
You can learn. You can learn. You can learn first through acceptance. Because...
So you must be aware of yourself.
You must be very much aware. And being aware is it has to be very intentional.
Because a lot of people also are not aware of themselves.
Yes. Because, and I'm saying this because let's take the first step towards my grandmother has passed on.
Sure.
What am I supposed to do in this case? Am I supposed to be a victim? Am I supposed to be looking for wishes from people? Am I supposed to be going under my uncle's house and crying and mourning and behaving like there's nobody else to take care of me? Am I supposed to go to an environment that I'm not wanted because I had an option to go back to my mother? But that would have been a very toxic, in fact, it would have taken another left, So first you have to accept your circumstances. Once you accept, you'll be able to deal with those circumstances very consciously. I think very many people are in denial, or many people want to be victims for way too long. The more you extend the victimhood, the more it messes up with your psychology, and you'll never be in a good place, no matter how you're not even trying because you want to be a victim. I'm
going to ask you an unfair question, because it is maybe it's lazy when we ask dates, times, yeah. But to get to where you are now,
yes,
in terms of you've got that very healthy personal family dynamic. Your career, the sky's the limit. There's that trajectory that's going. Yeah. But you see, obviously, they say hindsight is 20/20.
True.
Can you pinpoint? And you said, because you've been honest enough to say, the formative, the early years here in Nairobi were hectic. Do you remember, was it August 25th, 2014, when you're like, hey, that's the day that, light bulb moment? Can you remember? Because now, honestly, you're in a position where you're giving sage advice.
Yeah, true.
But do you know when we went right and we got off the left path?
No.
Is that a fair question? It's
a very fair question. But I would say that till now I'm a work in progress.
I like that. Yes.
So there's no time. What happens is, in every situation that you are in, you have to make a conscious decision at that time to change the course of your life, because 100% we're in charge of our lives, whether you like it or not. You are.
Good one. You are the captain of your own ship.
You are the captain of your own ship through and through. So you don't give that responsibility to someone else. Remember, when my auntie kicked me out, I had nowhere to go to.
Yes.
I had an option of actually taking a matatu and going back.
Thank you. Yes.
To Eldoret.
Yes.
I did not do that.
Yes.
I had to make that decision when packing my bags that I am not going back to Eldoret. I have to find a way. And remember, I really had nothing. So I think in every situation, you must be very conscious and intentional.
I like that.
I've had to make
conscious and intentional.
I've had to make very many decisions as I go along, because I don't have the time or the luxury of time to sit back and be a victim for a minute. The moment I'm a victim, I go back.
So, Mary, so honestly, that encyclopedia, the theft/loss,
yes,
when you were 10/11, that's the last time you played victim.
That's the last time.
First and last time. Well, I won't say first, but chill. But you were toddlers.
It was the last. Yes, it was the last time that I was a victim. That's the last time. But high school, Primary school, not high school. Primary school was very tough.
I can imagine.
Very, very tough.
Mchongwa no, nini.
No. It was a very, oh my goodness. I think I cried for 3 years. I was still a victim. I was a victim to a point that, I don't know how, but in primary school I considered suicide. It was that bad for me. You know, I came from...
Hold on.
Yes.
Before, after being taken to boarding school?
This was in boarding when...
After you've been shifted up?
Primary school.
Yes. Wow.
That is
yes.
class 5
oh,
to
yes.
8.
Okay, sorry. Yes.
Those were the toughest years of my life. And I think when I got to class 7 is when I stopped being a victim.
What happened? Was it a day or a process?
I don't know what happened in class 7 at some point. I repeated class 7 because for whatever reason I went blind for 1 week.
What?
I did. I just...
That's a psychological thing. Something was happening in the Kiongos.
I thought so.
Yes.
I thought that was stress. There was something something happened.
Yeah.
I was very stressed. I was coming from a lifestyle whereby I was eating chips every day.
Wow.
To a lifestyle where I'm eating gideri and uji and weevils and oh my goodness, the school was tough. It was a very tough school. And I cried every day. I was such a victim. I was very depressed as a very young girl. Class 7, I think, was, can I just say that was the climax of my depression. And for whatever reason, I actually did lose my sight for 1 whole week. I couldn't even do my exams. That's why I had to repeat class 7. And somehow I snapped out of it. I just snapped out of it.
Were you a bully in high school?
Was I a bully in high school?
Yeah.
I've never been a bully.
Okay.
No, I've never been a bully.
Because, were you ever bullied?
Yes, I was bullied in primary school. Some people tried to bully me in high school, but it didn't work out.
You see, me as bullied, then I became a bully.
No. I've never been a bully.
Right?
Never. I've never been a bully. You are in boarding, right?
How? You, the way you look at me, what?
You've never been to boarding?
Ningechoma hiyo shule ile bye.
No.
Jeff Luffy.
I've never been a bully.
No, let me tell you.
But I've been bullied.
You see, my two, the Pathfinders, Kwach Junior and Yanim, the 2 eldest, and Shaka.
Yes.
Them, they went to boarding school. I saw those ones. And the gap is big enough for you to make an executive decision. I said, there's through hell or high water.
Never ever happened. All the way to Form 4?
What are you talking? How? Thank you, Jesus.
You're very lucky.
Yeah. So, wow.
Lucky.
Listen, Mary. Time flies when you're having fun. There's a book title, and your journey is still, man, you're on the superhighway. But I want you to take pause. It's Jan 2025. And you put all those bricks, that is this shape called Lego. If you were to write your book, your memoir, Waleo, what would it be titled, my darling?
Oh, title it Battles from Within.
I love that.
Battles Within, yes.
See, the one she just came up with it. She's thinking about it. You see, the title is ready. I like that.
Yeah.
And then, most importantly, there is, because you have got so much to give, and there are so many lessons, and we've spoken about this. I mean, you could basically host spaces as well, right?
Yeah.
But there is a mother, there is a daughter,
yes,
who is listening to you right now, and you have given a lot of sage advice. But what is your take home to that mother, first of all?
To all mothers?
No. The single.
Oh, to the single mothers.
Yeah.
What I would tell the single mothers is do right by your child. Nobody can ever replace a father. And the battles that your children are fighting, because their fathers are not there, are battles they will never tell you. They will never open up to you and tell you because they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they're hurting from inside. And they will bleed on other people,
Wow.
if not on themselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like that. Now,
And just let me add this.
yes.
I've always encouraged women. I like using the word intentional. When you're picking the father of your child, be very intentional. You have to pick a man who is ready to be a father. And it takes time. I know women get desperate, to get careless, but don't do that to your child or yourself. That's just it. Yeah.
Finally, when you talk about now from the perspective of the child, please, I'm not talking about literally child age, youths, but that child who is now of your age, our age, because not all's well that ends well.
True.
As you said, your relationship with your mother is still a journey and a work in progress. But you've also now formed a very healthy relationship with your husband and your kids. What advice would you give a sister, a child? This one doesn't have to be, because also you've got a brother who's in the same scenario.
Yeah, true.
So here you're just talking to the children, not the women, just a child from.
It's like talking to myself.
Indeed.
You know?
Indeed.
It's very important for people to first, before forgiving anyone, take that burden off yourself. You had nothing to do with your situation, because many people tend to actually blame themselves. They tend to think that things should have been better for whatever reason. But I think the first journey towards forgiving is forgiving yourself, because you had nothing to do with that situation. Number 2, do not give excuses. Don't give excuses for your parents' failure.
Come on.
Don't do that. Don't normalize that situation. Accept it and then start working on yourself. And working on yourself means that you be very intentional with everything that you do. Be very intentional in breaking patterns.
Be very intentional in breaking patterns. But you know what? Time flies when you're having fun, and such a fascinating guest. In fact, we're having conversations, and Jeff, I think we want to start. This says we're very intentional in breaking patterns, but we want to start a pattern with you. Mary Ryan, we thank you so much, and that was great. You have set the stage, and you've actually set the bar for 2025. That is what Transformational Thursday is all about. We're gonna play out with 2 songs, and like you say, all of them are about breaking free and feeling good.
Yes.
And so I'm gonna play you out with 2 of your favorite songs. It's Rosal and Everybody, Free to Feel Good, and John Cicada, Just Another Day. Thank you for coming. We'll see you soon.
Asante sana.
Listen, before we go, because we must always do this. So if one wants to do branding,
Yes.
what is the plug? How does one get in touch with you guys?
Advatro branding.
It's not a race, eh?
Okay.
Pole bon. Most.
So,
There you go. Yes.
Advatro branding. We are a company that keeps the client connected with their audiences,
Good.
so as to build long-lasting relationships.
Sharp.
Well, where to find us? You can find us on Facebook. That's where we are. You can go to Google. If you Google Advatro branding, you'll be able to find our website. And yeah.
Can you spell that for me, please, Mary?
ADVERTRO.
Okay.
Branding. Yes.
And all inclusive, all branding, cars,
Oh yes.
matatus, buildings. T-shirts.
Anything that will help you be seen. So we do signage.
Right.
We brand vehicles.
Right.
We have we do apparel.
Right.
So if you want to have uniforms, we do that. Safety. We do safety gear, from helmets to gumboots, and of course, we are very big in gifting.
The Situation Room, by the way, you'll speak to Jeff.
Yes.
The Situation Room are actually looking for cups. You know, they have here, obviously, Situation Room happens in the morning, and they want to brand their cups.
Okay, great.
For the guy times the Wagenis are here. That's something you can do as well?
Yes.
One more time, it's Advert for Branding, and you can find Facebook. Let's go again.
You can find us on Facebook, or we have a website, but the best way to find it is actually to go on Google. Just type Advertro, ADVERTRO, branding.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a phone number attached that is not yours, Amber? But once we go there, we'll get all those details.
All the details.
I'll see you soon. Thank you so very much for coming through.